Good afternoon, everyone. So we are six top six. I'm Kaisin. I'm Yeni.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Kingston.
And I'm Suni.
Okay, so before we dive in, our topic for today is drumroll please. Relativism in the context of death ceremonies.
Ooh, spooky.
Okay, so we choose this topic because we've noticed something troubling. Many in the younger generation don't pay enough attention to traditional cultures, especially rituals like death ceremonies.
Yeah, exactly. Like my younger brother during Qingming festivals, instead of showing respect, he just played around. So disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why today we're not just going to talk about our own cultures, but also explore how other countries practice and perceive them. So first, relativism is the belief that truth, morality, and values are not absolute. Instead, they depend on individual perspective, cultural context, or societal norms. And what about death?
Oh, I know this one. Scientifically, death happens when essential organs in our body stop functioning.
Correct, but it's more than just biology. Philosophers have different takes. For example, Martin Heidegger believed that facing morality gives life purpose, while Epicurus emphasized living a joyful and worry-free life without fearing death. So you see, the meaning of death varies greatly across cultures. So this brings us to the key questions we'll be exploring today. So this question will guide us as how we explore the death ritual reflects culture's value, foster understandings, and sometimes even lead to conflicts. So let's start with Isa.
Okay, so basically death rituals are deeply influenced by culture, religion, and tradition. The way societies approach death reflects their core beliefs about life, afterlife, and spiritual continuity. For example, Western and Eastern cultures have very different rituals, and Mexico's Day of the Dead also offers another perspective. In Western cultures, death rituals are heavily shaped by Christianity and the idea of individualism. A traditional funeral often involves a wake, a religious ceremony in a church, and burial or cremation. Gravestones, also known as headstones, hold deep significance. They serve as lasting memorials and places where loved ones can visit and honor the deceased. In Eastern cultures, death is seen as a part of a broader cycle of life and rebirth. In Hinduism, cremation symbolizes the release of the soul from the body. It allows the soul to move closer to moksha or liberation, breaking free from the cycle of reincarnation, known as samsara.
And what about East Asian culture like Japan and China?
Good question! In East Asia, ancestor worship is a key part of death rituals. Take China's Qingming festival for an example. Families visit ancestors' graves, clean the tombs, and make offerings like food, tea, incense, and just people. It's about showing respect, maintaining a spiritual connections, and passing down traditions to future generations.
Oh, so ancestor worship isn't just about the death, it's about the living too?
Exactly! It's a way of acknowledging interconnectedness. Eastern cultures see life as a continuation of the sacrifice and efforts of their ancestors, and honoring them to enhance family bonds across generations.
Fascinating! Now let's shift gears to Mexico. Their Day of Death seems so different from both Western and the Eastern traditions.
Absolutely! Mexico's Day of Death is a joyful celebration. Families create colorful altars decorated with candles, marigolds, and the favorite food of the deceased. They believe that the dead return during the sacred period to reunite with the living. It's a vibrant celebration with music, dancing, and communal gatherings. This also shows the contrast from the solemn atmosphere we see in Buddhism. In Buddhism, death is treated with reverence and detachment. Prayers and sutras guide the deceased toward a peaceful rebirth. helping them escape samsara. Funerals can continue for weeks or even months, while laughter and entertainment is strictly discouraged. For Buddhists, death is a reminder of life's impermanence. So, cultural relativism is the idea that a culture's beliefs should be understood within their own context. What may seem overly individualistic is in Western funerals or mysterious, such like ancestor worship in Eastern traditions, it makes perfect sense within those cultures. Similarly, Mexico's joyful celebration might feel incomprehensible to a Buddhist who sees death as a solemn transition.
So there's not right or wrong way to handle death, right?
Exactly. Cultural relativism teaches us that no single death ritual is superior. This practice reflects the values, beliefs, and histories of their societies, whether it's Western personalization, Eastern interconnectedness, or Mexico's joyful remembrance. All rituals serve as a common purpose to honor the dead, comfort the living, and giving meaning to the life's unavoidable end.
That's a beautiful conclusion. So in the end, death rituals, no matter how different, remind us of our shared humanity, don't they?
Absolutely. Despite cultural differences, we all seek to cope with loss, preserve memories, and find peace in the face of death. That's what truly unites us.
So I would like to share some things about death and mournings. While death is unavoidable, how we understand and approach it differs widely among cultures in. Let's dive into how Eastern and Western traditions shape our perspective on this fundamental part of life. So, in many Eastern cultures, more of us think that death is things we cannot usually say it lah. But actually, death is seen not as an end, but is a part of continuous cycles of life and rebirth. Philosophical and religious traditions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism emphasize the spiritual nature of death, its role in a broader, harmonious existence. Like death in Hinduism is a transition where the soul leaves the physical body, moving closer to freedom, or we call as a moksha. Hindu funeral rites ensure peaceful and spiritual journey, often including cremation to release soul. Scar texts like Garuda Purnara guide the soul toward the next life. In Buddhism, death is a transition state, same as the Hinduism. Rituals such as chanting, meditation, and reading the Tibetan books of the dead help the spirit navigate the bardo, the intermediate state between the death and the rebirth. The ultimate goal is to attain nirvana, a state of enlightenment. Do you know what is the special culture in China and Korea?
No.
Right. There's called a Confucian-influenced culture in China and Korea. Death is deeply tied to family and social responsibilities. Filial piety, or respect for elders, extend beyond death. Festivals like Qingming festivals, or we call as tomb sweeping days, and Korean ancestral rites reflect these values. Families clean graves, offer food and incense, and maintain a connection with deceased loved one, emphasizing harmony and respect.
Oh, how about Western?
Western cultures often frame death with a sense of finalities, heavily influenced by Christian traditions. Death is viewed as a gateway to external life in heaven or hell, determined by one's faith and moral actions. Christian funeral traditions often highlight resurrection and renewal. Gravestone may face ease, symbolizing hope with Christ's returns. The cremations focus on personal responsibility and achieving eternal peace. While nowadays, Western mourning has evolved to emphasize individual remembrance. Funerals celebrate life, sharing stories of deceased, achievements, and memories. Private mourning and self-healing have become more common, blending tradition with personalizations. Practice like wearing black symbolize respect, while never trends include online memorials and customized rituals. So there is three key differences between East and West. The first one is philosophical approach. Eastern culture integrate death into natural cycle of life, focusing on harmony and spiritual continuity, while Eastern culture often emphasize moral judgment, legacies, and promise of eternal life. And the second one is called funeral attires. Eastern culture prefer plain white clothing during funeral, avoiding black, which is seen as attracting bad luck, while Western tradition commonly associate black with mourning and respect. And the last is called legacy and memory. Western culture often focuses on creating last legacies through donations, memorials, or community contributions, while Eastern tradition prioritizes spiritual renewal, ancestral connections, and clinical continuity.
Ah, I see. So you mean death and mourning reflects the core values and philosophies of a culture. So in the West, it's about peace, renewal, and interconnectedness. In the West, it's all about like morality, personal legacy, and eternal life. So I think like we should appreciate the rich diversity in how humanity makes sense of life in an inevitable conclusion.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I would like to hear about Yanni.
So their rituals hold a profound emotional and psychological significance across cultures, helping the living partner the death while finding solace and meanings.
So, how do Western culture view death ritual?
So in Western cultures, death is often seen as a definitive end, with ritual emphasizing the individual life and achievements. Visiting grave sites is a common symbolic act, allowing mourners to maintain connections with their loved ones. So, my great example is Mexico Day of the Dead. Just now Isabel has mentioned, so I will propose another example, which in Ireland, death rituals take on a communal and celebratory tones. The Irish weeks transform mourning into an act of togetherness. Friends and family gathers to share stories, recounting the deceases, virtues, and memorable moments. Music, singing, and even humor as interest, contrasting with more solemn practice elsewhere. This gathering reinforced the strength of community during loss, offering solace through shared experience and collective remembrance. Turning to Eastern cultures, death rituals are often solemn and deeply respectful, focused on family and spiritual continuity. Like in Japan, Buddhism, funeral guides the deceased spirits to the afterlife through a series of symbolic steps. The water ceremony, performed at the moment of death, provides a final sip of water to the departed. Cremations, the primary method of handling remains, emphasize purity and transformations, while burial in a family grave highlights the importance of collective memory over individual memorializations. The ongoing memorial service ensure that the deceased remain a vital part of the family's spiritual life. Despite their difference, these rituals share a universal goal to honor the deceased, comfort the living, and uphold cultural values. They remind us that death is not just an end, but a bridge that connects us across generations.
As we reflect on this tradition, let us appreciate the ways in which they keep the memories of our loved ones alive and reaffirm the enduring bonds that unite us all.
Oi, why you here?
Join us! Come So we have our special guest.
You are our special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Tong. Since tonight you're here, so I have a question for you. The ritual seems universal, but isn't it fascinating how every culture has its own unique way of honoring the death? What shapes this difference?
Death rituals are a universal practice, yet they differ widely based on each society, religious belief, historical context, and social norms. These customs honor the deceased and bring solace to the brave, reflecting the cultural outlook on death and the afterlife. They are a profound expression of cultural identity. The theory of cultural relativism emphasizes understanding such practice within their cultural context, free from external judgment. In our interconnect world, recognizing this difference is essential for mutual understanding. For example, Western culture death rituals mix solemnity with celebration. Catholic funerals in Italy features prayers and hymns guiding the soul and the afterlife, followed by the gatherings where loved ones share memories. In Scandinavia, funerals include eulogies, hymns, and communal meals that allow grieving and celebration to consist, focusing on closure and the individual societal contribution.
How about Eastern culture's practice?
For Eastern culture, often highlight ancestral lineage and family ties. In South Korea, jisoo involve offering food and drinks to ancestors, suggesting a connection between a living and the dead. In Vietnam, Kyoto sees family praying and making offerings at hot altars.
The Philippines, Panggangan
Pangganggadulua. Right. Combines the solemnity with group signing with a big farewell and the depart. This traditional underscore respect for ancestors and continuity of family values.
Despite this contrast, are there shared value?
Yes, all cultures deeply respect deceased and their societal roles. However, this difference can create misunderstanding. For instance, culture valuing solemnity might see celebratory rituals as irrelevant, while lively tradition could perceive quiet mourning and overly sober. Such misunderstanding may reinforce stereotype and complicate cross-culture dialogue.
So do cultural taboos makes this even more challenging?
Yes, they do. For example, many Asian culture views open discussion of death as unlucky, while Western societies discussing death is often seen as essential to processing grief. Misstep in navigating these taboos unintentionally often. Symbolism also varies. What signifies mourning in many Asian traditions but is associated with joy in the West. This symbolic difference can lead to confusion in multicultural environments. Engaging with diverse rituals fosters empathy and highlights grief universality. It challenges, assumes, broadens perspective, and deepens cultural appreciation. Reflecting on this practice can spur personal growth and foster intercultural understanding.
Then what steps can we take to bridge these differences?
Education is crucial. Cultural capacity training in school, workplace, and communities can enhance understanding and reduce stereotypes. Open dialogue about grief promote mutual respect. Inclusive politics such as flexible bereavement, leave and design space for cultural mourning practice. Show respect for diversity and foster harmony. By embracing the diversity of death rituals, we turn cultural difference into opportunity for empathy and collaboration. This enrich our shared humanity and strength cross-cultural relationship. In understanding and honoring this universal experience, we truly connect as human beings.
I'm interested in the positive impact of death ceremonies. Shumei, would you like to share some idea?
Sure. So, talking about the positive side of death ceremony and Buddhist ceremony is Buddhists emphasize that death should occur in serene environment surrounded by close friends and family. This setting allows loved ones to reflect on the positive deeds of the dying individual and assist their journey into reincarnations. In addition, friends and family often carry out good deeds on behalf of the deceased, creating merit to improve their future rebirth. So there's three positive of the death ceremony. It's firstly reconnecting families, and because Buddhist death ceremony often held at home, so they provide an opportunity for relatives to reunite. So, for example, in Malaysia, family frequently gather for meals before the burial, fostering emotional support and togetherness during a difficult time. These gatherings help reconnect distant family members and strengthen relationships. And secondly, spiritually and emotional support. The meditative atmosphere helps the behavioral reflect on impermanence and the continuous of life. And the third would be cultural preservation and spiritual growth. as acts like donating to temples, performing good deeds, or wearing traditional mourning attire honor the deceased while helping individuals reconnect with culture and spiritual roots. This practice guides mourners in processing grief and finding peace through the belief in rebirth of the afterlife. So, talking about Western traditional, the Mexican Day of Death, which Isabel just mentioned, the Day of Death is a vibrant and joyful celebration where families honor their deceased loved one with altars, offering, and storytelling. They have three positive impacts as well. The first one is facing mortality with courage, as the annual traditional creates a structural, permanent space to remember to the deceased, reducing the fear of forgetting or guilt about an inaction. Families decorate private space in their homes with photographs, flowers, and cherished items, strengthening the relationship with the loved one. And also, they have communicate connections, as gathering publicly to share grief reminds individuals they are not alone. And thirdly, would have maintaining bonds with the deceased. Rituals like living offering and telling story ensure a continuing connections between the living and the dead. These practices remind family that their loved one live on through memory and love.
So, do we have any about the negative impact?
Yes, we do have it. So we have cremation impact in many Buddhism community. Cremation is a common practice, but it contributes to environmental damage by releasing greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and consuming significant energy. Besides that, deforestation is a serious matter as well, as traditional prayers would use large amounts of firewood lead deforestation, particularly in regions where resources are scarce.
So, what is the Western practices?
So the Western practices would be
Non-biodegradable.
non-biodegradable materials. Embalming chemicals can contaminate soil and groundwater. Coffin made from metals or wood takes centuries to decompose. And besides that, waste generations. As mass productions of flowers, wraps, and decoration often wrapped in plastic create significant non-recyclable waste. And also financial pressure, as family may feel obligated to uphold and elaborate tradition despite limited sources, leading to financial strain.
Okay, so I understand your words. So to conclude your words, I think death ceremonies hold profound cultural, spiritual, and emotional significance, bringing people together. They also present challenges such as emotional distress, financial burdens, and environmental concerns. Striking a balance between honoring the deceased and embracing sustainable practices is essential to ensure that these rituals remain meaningful while addressing modern challenges.
Yes! So that would be all of our
Video
Discuss today?
Discuss today?
Yeah.
It was a great discussion.
Yeah.
Good.
Yay! Okay, see you next time.
Bye.